It's fine, sweetie.
Hi, y'all. It's fine, sweetie.
You wouldn't
It's
even
a
ready.
podcast with me and you and you. I'm Andrea. That's Danny. And that's CJ. Hello. Do.
Fanfare. Ah, yeah.
Very good. Okay.
Thanks.
So, Clarence, you were just talking about before we came on air, you were talking about staying off of TikTok because they're always trying to sell you something. And it made me remember this TikTok that I saw today. This woman was talking about, um, with like the election and everything, like people are trying to figure out like what happened or what went wrong or how do we message. And one of the things that came up, which I think is bullshit, is that men don't have like a place on the left. Like they feel alienated and left
Hate
out,
me.
whereas the right and all of these like toxic dude bro um podcasts give them a place where they feel like they belong because everybody on the left hates them and as evidenced by using words like toxic masculinity because uh you know and so this woman was talking about it and she said, who makes you feel that way? Like, are you actually listening to women or are you going to like these podcasts and getting in the podcast communities and they're making you feel that way? Because obviously I think that that's the case. Like they are trying to neg you and tell you that you're not good enough. And so they put you in a position where you're always trying to prove yourself and prove your masculinity, but you're not proving it to the women that you say hate you. You're proving it to the men who keep telling you women hate you. And she goes, this because they're selling you a product, which is the podcast. Like that's how they keep you coming back. And I thought that was like such a good salient point because I also feel like I don't feel like women hate men and I don't feel like feminism makes women hate men, but um I do feel like there is such a thing as toxic masculinity and I do feel like men also suffer from it, right? Because toxic masculinity is the thing that tells you that you're not good enough and tells you that you shouldn't have feelings. And, it's like a very narrow path to quote unquote being a man. And I think that that's not good for anybody. That's not healthy. And a lot of the things that it requires of you aren't healthy and don't make for healthy relationships. And I feel like that's the overarching conversation that they say makes them feel like people hate them. Um, and it's really just, I don't even want to say it's accountability, but like you have to like do the hard work of owning your shit for sure.
Is that a question?
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Um, I feel like I mean, you gotta start breaking those down a little bit so I can answer them because there's like four things I want to talk
I
about.
know. I just
Remember, because
like what do you want me to break down?
you start at the top. Let's start over. Okay, so first, white cis males do feel like they're under attack by feminists. Okay, because and that's why they want to roll back DEI. Listen, I told you I was at the bank. I was at my place of employment, and there was a guy. He came in there. And he was like, "Look, they want all the babies to be brown, and white men are gonna be extinct.
I
And
think
we need to fix it." And he was talking to me like I was on his side. Like,
yeah.
all right, yeah, I got a lot of brown babies. Um, but I think that they don't even see it as racism. They just see it as self-preservation. And I guess in a lot of ways, if you subscribe to that antiquated ideology, then you are under attack. And we better stop perpetuating the belief or the science that don't exist because they are playing chess.
I
And
agree with that. I
I think that,
absolutely agree
like,
with that.
remember when we were younger, that was like starting to bubble up, like the all the talks about immigration and mixed race marriages. Even as a young person, I remember there being this fear and statements that there were going to be the white folks were going to not be the majority by 2050 something.
right.
I don't remember like what it was or like which classes or if it was
I remember
classes or
that
if it
being
was,
an article on in Time magazine.
yeah. And I think that white people like really
Chess is.
fear that. And I thought that like also for men. So for men, I think that there's also this piece, like I'm sure as an economic major, you can like see that there's a piece of like wanting there to be folks to have more babies because of like this
Here.
need to have a lower class of folks like born.
So
Um,
so that's socioeconomic. So like focusing
so
focusing more on like the race aspect of it, or just needing to have consumers to buy our shit.
yeah, there's
Both. They
like the
go
need
hand in
to have
hand.
consumers, the need to have a working class, like an like poverty, like there's just a fear of things being different. Like of
Not being empowered anymore.
yeah, and I think that a lot of it has to do with that. But when I listen to the men on TikTok or the snippets that come to me, it does feel like there's a piece of always being in power that they really, want to have control of. Like they want to keep doing that. Like they don't want there to be. I think I told you even when I do surveys at work, there's this low undercurrent of people complaining that there's too many women being promoted. Um, so just like stuff like that where they're like, hey, you guys keep doing this, like, and women keep like ruling all of the stuff that we do. Like if you look at our executive leadership, if you look at this, there's too many women. And instead of them being like, why are the women getting promoted? They're just assuming that like there must be some DEI initiative that says you guys need to promote women. So that's what you're doing. Instead of like, understanding that like what women are the most educated in our group, in our age group, there's more women going to get a college degree. There's more women like suffering in silence and therefore adhering to compliance. There's all these things that are happening for women that like maybe men are not ready to do. And instead they're just like, these are DEI hires. So even Black men are feeling like DEI is harming them in some ways because they're like, you guys are just promoting like the trope of Black women because Black women is like the most oppressed group. And that's who you're trying to like right these years of wrong on instead of looking at me as a Black man and promoting me too.
I think these thoughts come with a certain tax bracket.
I don't think so, unfortunately, because that's not who I'm talking about.
Really?
Well, I think
'Cause
I do the kind of think that you're hitting on something. I think that like the
mayor.
reason that they want to promote
Who's right? Me or him?
Yeah, look
like
at
everybody,
no.
that they want to have people to have more babies is yes, they need like a class of workers, but they want people to have more white babies because as much as people say that they don't understand systemic racism, that to me tells me exactly what it is because they understand that or they believe that they only have power because of their numbers, right? And so as that number goes down, that's why they want to get rid of interracial marriage and gay marriage, probably. They want more white babies. But even having like a solid base of workers, that's also political power because if everybody's like mixed race and there's all these brown people, if you can't unify enough people by race, then they're going to unify by class. And there's way more of the underclass than there is of the upper class. So
Yeah.
that's why think that everybody's right. But
Isn't that also part of the Willie Lynch theory? Like with all the isn't that like my understanding of Willie Lynch?
What's the
Like
Willie Lynch theory?
I really need to look it up, but I could have swore like Willie Lynch theory is like part of the reason why there was like a promotion or some piece like psychologically to make poor white peoples feel like they're better than Black people at least. So it's like a way to like extract power from the poor working class so that they could keep working, but have somebody that they feel like they're better than.
Yeah. I don't know if it's specifically in the Willie Lynch letter, but that is a popular ideology for sure that seems to play out in reality.
Yeah.
But I guess the part that I really wanted to hit on is like the negging thing, and the fact that they feel that way not necessarily because it's happening, but because they're listening to people telling them that it's happening. Because I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Like, the people that they say are telling people to hate men, like, what I see is like people talking about women's sexuality and like how to have a better sex life, or how toxic masculinity does exist, but it also hurts men, and you can have a feeling other than anger. It's just a little scary. I just feel like they would feel a lot better if they actually listen.
They don't want to feel better. They want to feel like John McClane. Also, I have a question. What does this have to? Huh?
You can feel like John McClane.
No, John McClane had a headache. He wanted a cigarette, and his wife off his back. That was John MO throughout.
Okay,
all right.
You're right.
We want to be action heroes, okay? Listen. What does this have to do with people trying to sell me a treadmill on TikTok?
Well, people are trying to sell you that you're not good enough, which is like a marketing tactic.
I haven't heard anybody go, "Hey, fat ass, are you sitting on your couch scrolling TikTok right now?"
But they kind of do. They're like, come on, disappear for 3 months and come back and get all your enemies.
Dude, I'm solely into my winter art. All right, I'm fucking with that whole message.
Well, but
I
that
haven't started
works
it.
because they're like, buy this treadmill and disappear. So it's like,
you
buy
took
this
my
treadmill,
argument
disappear
and
for
you
3 months, and then come back and show all your enemies how hot you are. Like, get the revenge dress. That presupposes that there are people out there that think you're fat and ugly.
They do. Everybody probably feels like people feel that way about them. When in reality, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's looking at you, and they're going, "Hey, buddy, you really need to put down the donuts." Everybody is in their own. You're not the main character in my story. I'm not sitting around talking about you and going, "Look at that fat ass." I'm going, "Look at my fat ass," right? So we all think that. Now,
I think that like maybe where it comes in, I'm not really sure how to connect the arguments, but I do think that like
see it so clearly. You can't connect them.
Nope.
That's so interesting.
I don't see it.
Yeah, like where we talk about like toxic masculinity, and then we talk about like this kind of arc of like gender roles and stereotypes is maybe in the pieces where there's like this entitlement. So when I think about, again, like the red pill and the like, what is it? Involuntary celibacy.
Yeah, the incels, the involuntary celibate.
Yeah. Not Shannon Sharp. I don't really know. Is he red pill? Like high quality, high value man? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just thinking like when I think about those men, like we're talking about like stuff that's happening in real life for young women of like being catcalled, saying no, and then getting acid thrown in your face, or being catcalled, saying no, and then getting beat up, or
that lady at work that just got killed.
Yeah, the woman who refused her coworkers advances, and he went home and got a gun and shot her. Like he became obsessed and then shot her and killed her. And I just feel like there's so much of that that's like laced through, and like a lot of times that's presented like a woman problem. Like, like, okay, if you dress the part, if you like go around looking, if you put on makeup, or if you do any of that stuff, you're like attracting a man. But there's so much in there, even when we talk about like a man wanting you and then like all the things that they could go through, like he's a nice guy, he's got a good job, you know, whatever, like none of those things should, in a lot of people's minds, mean that like I can say no to him. Like I just don't like him. And they're like, well, he's a good guy, but I don't care. And there's people who are advising young women to go ahead and be with this guy because he's like high value. And there's an entitlement with young men to think that, I mean, well, men in general, I think it's not just a young man thing. With men in general to feel like, well, if I do all these things, if I check all these boxes, I should get whatever woman I want. Like if she's single, I should be able to like get this woman. And then not only that, like I should be able to get this woman and then she should quit her job, especially if I'm making enough money. She should want to take care of the home. She should want to take care of the kids. Like there's people that out there with these entitlements. And sometimes like they don't make enough money.
Are
like,
the alpha bros saying that, or is this just delusion?
Oh yeah, no, they're
On the
totally
first
saying that.
yeah, this is out there. Yeah. This is out there. And I think
Andrew Tate is going, hey, she needs to want you. You're the that's what he's preaching. Because I've never,
Yeah, like he, like literally, he's like,
Kevin Samuels.
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, of course, I didn't listen to them. I'm just talking about like, you know, the snippets of people that I see on my timeline that are like, you know, you women are just waiting on the perfect guy and he doesn't exist.
it's
Or
that
I
whole
just saw
like,
Dr. Umar on a podcast, and he was talking about white women like will come and find a brother in college and then, you know, work with him. And then when he gets to be, you know, a millionaire.
Women do mold men. That's in movies.
Okay, but when he gets to be a millionaire, then the black sisters are calling him a sellout. But y'all, black women are only wanting men to be at their top 10. They don't want to work with a man who's in his building area. And I was like, that's not true, because many of us know women who are dating losers all the time.
yeah, Savannah James would love to have a chat.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking
but
about?
you see,
Like,
I think it's a spectrum. Like I've seen both, right? I've seen women go, I only date a man if he can pay my bills, and then I've seen people that like help you build, right? So I've seen.
but like, if I'm 40 years old, like, what do I look like pulling a man out of college? Like, nigga, we old. Like, what do I look like? That don't make sense. Like, when I was 23,
A lot of cougars do that. Go get the little 19-year-old.
There's just no guarantee. You might get a man out of college. This nigga drop out. Next thing you know, you more than a sugar mama.
I think it comes down to like we can't control people, right? But like I think it's both spectrum.
It's
It's also too polarizing. Anytime that you have a specific instance that you want to speak on, like I know that people may be speaking about something specific. They take a snippet that blows up because none of us, it sounds like, have actually watched the entirety of these podcasts, right? Or care.
They're like 4 hours long of
Right.
telling
Or
women
care
that they're
to,
fucking
right?
wrong and terrible.
So in a lot of instances, we are watching TikTok. We see a snippet of something. These people tell us how we should feel, right? And that's more along the lines of what I was speaking of, is that individual content creators are now becoming the man, right?
So you do see the connection.
No, baby,
So
I don't. No, baby, let me finish my point. Okay. What I see is that okay, so we go on Amazon and you see a customer video and you trust that because it's not the corporation. It's a person that's just like you. They don't have money to be spending on this shit either. And so they want the best bang for their buck. That's where customer videos came from. Slow and steadily, corporations have bought us individually by monetizing our YouTube streams or our channels. And now maybe you may be recommending something that you ain't really used. You don't use it every day and you don't really believe in it, but you're trying to get that 75 cents every view. You see what I'm saying? So like, and also too, they've become media pundits. They've become the talking head on the news, right? So like that line is now blurred. It's more along the lines that I was talking about, to the point where I can't trust my brethren, right? But to your point, it's polarizing, right? Because if I had a woman tell me that, and I want to talk about it on my content, somebody's going to take that clip of me going, I'm a prize, right? And they're going to push it out. So I don't know because I haven't watched it, so don't bite my head off. I'm just saying I can see both sides. And I know that that's why it's healthy for you to go to a therapist, because there are a lot of people who are delusional, and that's my biggest fear, right? When I'm teaching my children, when I'm interacting with my wife, if I'm choosing to die on a hill, right? I don't want to be delulu and like guide the people that trust me into the wrong situation. But I'm not losing my life because some woman said no to a date to me. I'm not going to jail for forever. I'm not shooting up the club. I ain't shooting up my work. Like that just don't make sense to me. And I think that if somebody was on YouTube pushing that, like, hey, she can't say no to you ever, I don't feel like that they would have
It's such a subtle thing though, because like one of the TikTokers was like breaking down the arc on Seventh Heaven, which also I never watched. But there's like this whole scene on Seventh Heaven where he likes a girl, she doesn't like him back. He goes home, he talks to his mom.
that with the mom.
Yeah.
Mom is giving him advice.
And the mom's like, how could she not want you? You're this,
Yeah.
you're that. And so like
I do believe that happened.
Yeah. So that's like how things happen. And then like if people get built up enough, they start to feel like you're the problem. Like you're so uppity. You're this. Like even on like Reddit again, like I think these stories.
For real?
There was a woman saying like she refused this man's advances. And then she heard from a new person that this man starts to go into, when she leaves for the night, he goes into her office and he gets butt naked and sits in her chair because he's like, she's
power move.
Yeah, she's such a prude, and so she got HR to approve putting a secret camera in there because she said people were stealing stuff. They did that. They see him come in, get bucket naked, sit in her chair, lick all her pens, wipe picture frames around his junk.
Sorry, yes, this is a one-off. Like there's 8 billion
every
on
night.
the planet, my nigga.
This is just the night they caught him.
There's 8 billion people on the planet. We found the one weirdo that was like, I don't know. I know it's
one weirdo though.
No, I don't think it's a form where they like, hey, what'd you do tonight? And he was like, I put a highlighter up my ass. I don't think that that's what people are doing out here, bro. Like,
they're out here punishing women, like fuck you, So I don't know. I just feel like, I think I've even told you, like when I worked at one of the schools back in Oklahoma, there was a guy that liked me and I liked him, and then I thought he was getting divorced. I didn't ask him, like, straight up until later. And then when I figured out he was not getting a divorce and I was Delulu, that I was like, oh, this isn't working out. And another teacher stopped talking to me. And I was like, what the fuck did I do to you? And then he was like, oh, actually, my bad. I heard the story wrong. But he never told me what story he heard.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
I would write her off.
Yeah, he was like ready to throw me to, like, bitch, don't. Like, it was rude. Like, I was like, hey, Mr. So-and-so. He was like he can hear me. I was like, that's why I was like, hey, what the fuck did I do to you? First of all, this is a professional setting. I ain't asking you to invite me to your house, but you will speak to me when we're at school. What the fuck is wrong with you? And then he was like, oh, my bad. I heard the story wrong. Okay, well, what story? Oh, don't worry about it. And I was like, no, but it was enough for you to be like, I ain't talking to that bitch.
And how many people heard this story?
Yeah, so I need to know what the story is. I still don't know. But I just feel like, for like women in the work field and like whatever, it's just like, you just never know. Men are like,
I feel like that's a leap though, bro.
Huh?
That's a leap. That's a limp.
Okay, well, I don't know. Again, when I was in college, we read this book called Cool Pose. And it was like about how women raise their sons. And you can see it in like the boy mom culture. Like when people are like, I'm a boy mom, blah, blah, blah. And there's this whole thing about like where women are like almost catering to their sons. And then with their daughters.
No man in their life.
Yeah, maybe. But with their
not
daughters,
necessarily.
they're like feeling like I need to raise her. I need to do this.
Prepare
and like,
her for the world.
Yeah, prepare her for the world. And for men, like, I know another woman who said, he just needs to find him a good wife. And I was like, why the fuck can't he figure out how to do that shit himself? Why would he need a wife? And it's just like, but that's what we're raising men to think. Like, okay, well, I can't do all this. I mean, I remember even saying that to myself. Like, I can't keep up with all this shit. I need a wife.
Yeah, I
You
said
know,
that.
because like, it's like, I need a wife. And that because we have in our minds, like, this is what women do.
I don't think that that's a sex thing. I think that everybody has an idealistic touch point or milestone trajectory in their brain.
It is.
I
It's
think
a
Okay,
gender
but who are they
stereotype.
assigning those
It's a
five
gender
milestones
kids.
to?
It's like a Disney, nigga. What the
Right, but who is this?
no, like you
What
watch the
Yeah,
is
movie
society
and you go,
assigning?
this is what my life is supposed to be, bro.
Right,
You watch shit on TV, you see the representation, you go, all right, that's what I need. Checklist. Okay, I need a bad chick that's gonna cook my eggs in the morning. Like you watch the movie, dog.
right, but they
I
assign
didn't
cooking the eggs to the bad chick, not
That
the
ain't
bad
true,
dude.
Mrs. Doubtfire, my nigga. What's happening?
He
Yeah, but
got
she was
kicked
the
out
maid. I
again.
mean, think about that. Like, Mrs. Doubtfire was the maid. And first of all, Robin Williams played like this insane motherfucker who couldn't take no for an answer.
I
Dressed as a woman,
what you're
pretended this
not
is
gonna
why
do is
He
slander
also
Robin
had to
Williams.
dress
conservatives
up
are
like
so
a
afraid
woman.
of people being trans because they think everybody's Mrs.
It's a
Doubtfire.
problematic
And
example, nigga. What I watched last night was Blank Check, okay? And Blank Check, there was an FBI baddie, bro, baddie, okay? And she's flirting with this 12-year-old the whole movie. And at the end, she's like, "Look me up." Yeah, the nigga's 12. He can run a blank check, got $1 million, right? It's not feasible by any stretch of the imagination, but the shit happened, okay? And then so he's out here buying shit, and she works for the FBI. He don't know, and she's like, where he get the money? And then at the end, she gives him a kiss on the lips. Let's talk about that.
Gross.
yeah, but like, think about all the shit that happened to Justin Bieber. When we look at that, like that also is not okay. But we've been conditioned, like when little boys say that they were molested or harassed or whatever by a female, like an older woman, a teacher or a family friend, people are giving them dap, like telling them, congrats. You know what I mean? Like, but
I'm hurt. I know that that's wrong. I know it is.
yeah, but the reality is it's not okay.
It's
And so that's what would like, with progress, we should be at a place where we're like able to talk about that. But I feel like somehow with us like talking about like, getting rid of toxic masculinity and like women working on themselves and being independent and being seen as full individuals without, having to be attached to a man, we forgot that there's like this whole other thing about like how to parent our sons.
but it gets blurry though because like, listen, it gets blurry when you bring sex into it.
What do you mean?
It does. Like from my perspective,
Well, say more.
all I can do is give it to you straight. Okay.
Yeah, say more.
From where I feel like I'm gonna get attacked. I got a little anxiety about it. Oh, I
Okay,
don't want
just
it. You know what I'm saying? Listen,
be brave. Be brave.
all I'm saying though is like there's a lot of people who like to be subjugated in the bedroom because they're in powerful positions throughout the day.
Yeah, but that's
I feel like people take that and they get a little confused. And then they like, all people like that shit. And not all people like that shit, right? Some people just want to have normal, kink free relations. You know what I'm saying? And so, like,
That's like a
all of these
step.
things blur the line.
Okay.
I feel, you don't see? I knew that was the
but
direction I was going.
that to me is just like a complete misunderstanding of like
There's a lot of
the
misunderstanding.
kid.
Agreed.
And so like that again just requires a little like subs and doms have an entire philosophy. Like it's a school. There are books about it. There are forums about it.
You know about
And
this.
being a good dom and being a
Who
good
knows a
sub.
lot of stuff about sex for
It's
some
the
reason.
smut, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the 50 Shades of Grey, ain't it, my nigga? I know, bro. Like, you into that. You like.
I just am into research.
Mhm.
But
Research.
this is terrible.
Hey,
I did start
don't tell
researching
me my
it when I
room when I'm
started writing.
researching, nigga.
I only started researching it when I started to write a book. When I started to write a book, it does take you to weird places. But I also Googled today. I Googled today that was so wrong. Like, uh, I googled something about killing people and how long it would take
Yeah,
for the body to
yeah,
decompose. And I'm
you're
like,
definitely getting
I'm
arrested.
definitely on a list somewhere. Like they definitely
Hey,
think
like,
something
yeah,
about me.
yeah. Go ahead and add her, bro. Yeah,
But anyway,
go ahead
it
and put her on.
it is kind of wild out there. But when you do the research in a technical matter, there is a philosophy, and there are people that are very serious about it. If you're not, then so anyway, all of that requires a education, I feel like. But I also feel like, to rewind it a little bit, I feel like when Danielle, when you said that like it happens in these subtle ways, I think one of those subtle ways is the constant harping on the conversation of being in your feminine and being in your masculine. But she's in her, that is a woman in her masculine
Societal
energy. That
gender.
is such bullshit.
That's a societal gender role. Like man have feminine qualities, right? And then you're right.
Right.
Like I can't, as a man, when I'm hanging out with, it depends, right? Depends on my friends and how long I've known them, right? But there's some friends where you just not never gonna hear me admit something because I'm gonna be ostracized, and it's they only hear the one thing. So I understand what y'all are talking about. Men definitely um are toxic, but I feel like it's a people issue, right? I feel like the thing is that nothing comes with an instruction booklet. You watch a movie, you read a book, you hear a story, you take something from it. I conceptualize it differently. I take something from it, and then nobody goes back to make sure that we're clear. And even if you did implement that practice, I'm still gonna perceive it differently than you,
Yeah.
and there's going to be some misunderstandings. I don't think that any misunderstanding should lead to such an extreme that I'm going to throw acid on somebody or I'm going to put your highlighter up my ass every night. Like, who had fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, move on. She don't want you, bro. Move on, I think should be the message. Not that there has to be something wrong with her or you, right? It's a it's a mutual contract, right?
Do you think people get obsessed with like why? Why don't you like me? Like,
think
and
I think
and
that's the problem.
yeah, I think
It's
that
toxic
that is the problem.
masculinity. I think that that's the problem, right? Is that
I mean, but that is
you
toxic
deserve
masculinity.
somebody. You think
Yeah,
That
you can
is
entitlement.
toxic
own somebody,
masculinity. Yeah.
right? That's the problem, right? It's like you should be. I don't like it when people go, "You're mine." Like I know that it can be romantic to show that kind of conceptualize that kind of like ownership, but I don't. Maybe it's the blackness in me. I don't want to be owned by nobody, type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you miss me with all of that. So I'm not. I'm kind of a misnomer in that regard. Like I'm not going. I can't represent the alpha bros in that regard,
Yeah, yeah.
and I
I mean,
can't see how
I think it
that
just
they
goes
damage it.
pretty deep.
So
Yeah, and so I think it just goes really deep. Like there's just a lot to unpack in that. But I do think that like people play on those themes, and then they do sell stuff that way.
I mean, yeah, you saw the Megan Kelly Boondocks episode.
I
I
didn't
don't
see it.
remember coming.
Uh,
Or I don't remember it.
bas-
Oh, I do
yeah,
remember it.
basically the teacher
Yeah.
says nigga to Riley, and then like Al Sharpton shows up, and they blow it up, and then like it becomes like a fight between Al Sharpton and Megan Kelly on Fox News, and then she comes to the back and she goes, "Al, what up, my nigga?" And like turns out that they cool, and like she got a black boyfriend, and all the shit that she perpetuates on the news cycle is fake, and she don't believe it, but she just trying to sell T-shirts. It all comes down to selling T-shirts, my nigga. And like until we stop selling out other people, minimizing the damage that we're causing in real world activities to sell a T-shirt, like that's just not going to stop. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't think it's a man or a woman thing. I think it's a it like, and then that's another reason why people don't care about the middle class disappearing. I don't want equality across the board. I want to be super fucking rich. I want
Yeah.
there to be this disparaging difference, and I'm
Even
kind
the
of
people that are making
yeah,
like $18 an hour are like talking like that because they're protecting the future them that's like
exactly
gonna
right.
be a millionaire.
Yeah,
They're like, I'm about to just be an entrepreneur. Yeah, like how many people I've met that have been like, I'm on my hustle. And then you like talk to them and they're just like trying to sell you insurance and trying to sell you.
Hey,
Like,
nigga, nigga, I got these travels. Nigga. What's that?
I do think that it's like 80% protecting future you, but I think that there's 20% there that have been sold the idea and it's comfortable. It's like, they're like, these people are smart and they work hard. And then, so if I don't have what they have, it's just because I didn't work hard, right? Like, I just have to get a little smarter in
a
order
little
to get
harder.
it. Like, it's like,
The American dream.
if they rig the system or it's just generational wealth, that feels a little more daunting, and
Because I can't overcome
that feels
on
like
my own,
despair.
right? Like I know
Yeah.
that I must always shop at Walmart, my nigga. I'm never gonna make it to Nordstrom. Like that's
Yeah, like that's sad.
is it though? Because we don't.
No, I
I
mean,
want
to
to
some
go
people,
back because I want to go back to my original point. I don't know how y'all got me here, okay? But my original point was I don't need no more shit. And like I want to go on TikTok and watch short content like a Vine video. That I just want to laugh and be entertained. And they
oh,
Yeah.
you gotta change your algorithm.
no, my nigga, you just said all three of us. I'm sure got different algorithms.
Yeah, you just gotta keep going. I mean, I do understand what you're saying because like everybody's trying to sell something.
But
What also be getting me is when they be like, first they start talking and you be like, okay,
all right,
and then
man.
it turns out they're trying to sell something.
No,
I'm like,
just hey,
I do be looking down for that little orange box, and I'm like, nope.
I
yeah,
don't know, hey, my nigga, but like some of the exercise equipment do be looking right, and I do have a hard time.
Yeah,
well, like
but
I bought a black poetry book, but I was like, I do want to support black artists, so I feel like
Is it
that's
right,
black?
but
No, it's probably not. It's probably from China.
yeah. But she self-published her own book. I mean, I hope.
Oh, I thought you meant like write your own journal, like give this to your mom so she can write down her story.
No, oh no, I'm not buying any more of those because I did buy one of those for mom and she hasn't filled it out. But I
Shut up.
I did buy one for grandma, and grandma filled out what she could.
not mom catching a stray.
Yeah.
Yeah, mama ain't gonna fill that shit out. She even like just put what stories you remember down in there. Shut up. We ain't doing that shit. But anyway, I don't know. Do you want to talk about what we're reading this week?
I'm not telling
That's
you
a
what I
hell of
read.
a
this
segue,
week.
girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that. I wasn't prepared at all. Okay.
Yeah, because yeah.
I don't even know what that segment was about. I got something off my chest, and that's all right.
It was all over the place for sure.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for partying. Well, don't let me be in charge of shit no more.
No, I mean it wasn't. It just was like I'm sure somehow.
It was very ADD for
We're
sure.
definitely because like my point didn't get talked about at all, nigga. Like I asked if we was gonna talk about it, and Clary said, "What'd you read this week?" So that's all right. I just feel like
Okay.
no, it's okay.
Say what you feel then.
I just feel like it's too
What you want to talk about? Like people selling you shit on the internet?
no, because our economy needs it. That's the whole point of our economy is you have
Consumerism, right?
Yeah, but you can just go on Temu and buy it. I bought several outfits off of Temu and they've been great.
I don't
I don't
that.
because I feel like
I
aren't
don't
they
do that at
exploiting?
all. I feel like you're lying to me now.
This shirt's from Temu.
No,
No,
mm-mm.
I ain't fucking with
I
Temu.
don't fuck with you.
Where do you think the TikTok shop people are getting their shit
First of all, I
from?
don't support fast fashion.
Yeah,
Nigga,
no.
yes, you do.
I don't support fast fashion.
You do because
don't.
you buy shit. Where do you buy your clothes?
First of all, Dillard's.
Only.
I mean, that's the last place that I bought something. I buy clothes sparingly. This body probably ain't gonna change, so let me buy a couple of pieces that are expensive every once in a while. I'm in that stage. Because I don't think I'm gonna lose this 60. All right. I just don't. I think this is what
You're in an
you get. Huh?
I said you're in an acceptance stage.
I'm in my acceptance stage. Like, yeah, like you're gonna get all these roles. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And if I put both my arms in the air, you're gonna see a little belly. And that's gonna be all right. You'll survive.
You're gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
I went to the gym today, and I went to Planet Fitness, and you know they have that little yellow area.
Not the gym. I was gonna say not the gym.
What?
Planet Fitness.
Oh, like a Planet Fitness isn't the gym, bitch. I live in rural Oklahoma. The
Where you
only
live?
quote unquote gym we have out here is number 1 on Main Street. Number 2, they have equipment from, I'm not joking, 1990. It's all, it started out.
Go to any public forum where you live, baby girl. Definitely come to the city. Okay.
It started out like metal, but now it's all rusted. And then every time you look at it, you have to think about how many hands have touched it.
That's a good gym.
And when you drive by at night on Main Street, you could tell the ventilation is bad in there because the windows are all fogged up. And all I can think about is people's sweat and mouth juices being on it.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. I fart openly in the gym because everybody's got on headphones. I'll just go as loud as I can.
Clarence,
Oh, trying to tune it out or nothing.
Nigga,
I let it rip. That's right. Absolutely. You got headphones. You're not going to hear me. What's the chances that I'm going to catch you right in between Miley Cyrus and Lana Del Rey?
Somebody heard you, Clarence, and they told their friend.
This is ridiculous.
Anyway, so like the only gyms we have that are in with, and it still takes me 30 minutes to get there, is Planet Fitness or the Y. And the Y, again, has not been updated since, I mean, it still looks the exact same when we were kids taking swim lessons there, and it smells the same. And that to me makes me feel weird.
It's a hallmark of a great gym. That's an American staple. First of all. And second of all, they're the only place in Oklahoma with a steam sauna. Can't beat it.
It smells like ass in there.
As it should.
Anyway, so I went to Planet Fitness, and they had that little yellow area, and I was doing leg curls, which is a very vulnerable position to be in. And I go on Sundays because nobody is there at all. And so I'm in this little area all by myself, and I'm doing leg curls, and I'm kind of like waiting between sets because that's what you're supposed to do.
Sorry.
And this old man walks right to me to the point where I took off my headphones. I was like, "Can I help you?" And he's like, "Hey." And he just sits down at the machine right next to me and starts doing bicep curls. I'm like, "Sir, there are 3 bicep curl machines in here. You didn't need to use this one."
Mm-hmm. You came here for fellowship.
It was gross. Huh?
You came here for fellowship.
I didn't.
That's what he thinks.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He needs a fellowship with somebody else.
Probably going to ask you if you want to play racquetball. Oh, is this at YMCA or is this at Planet Fitness?
It's at Planet Fitness.
You got to stay away from Planet Fitness. There's some weirdos in there. There's a lot of weirdos in Planet Fitness. Because it's not a gym. They don't have to really lift anything, bro. Like,
they're just going in there to hang out.
I feel like if Dahmer was alive today, that's where he would go to.
It's a hot take. It's a very hot take.
I feel like that's where he would go. They just let anybody in there. You don't have to look like
not getting to Planet Fitness.
If he just carried you out over his arm, wouldn't nobody say shit. They'd be like, "Yeah, that's normal. Let him go. Let him out." That's the problem.
Oh,
they're gonna be like, "Sir, you want pizza? You want to use the aqua massage chair before you leave?" He gonna be like, "Yeah, that sounds delightful." I'm like, "You want me to hold your human bag?" And they gonna be like, "Yeah, hold my human bag."
Your human bag? Oh my God, CJ.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well.
Anyway, funny. That was a good one. I'm glad that came up. Planet Fitness is gonna sue the shit out of us.
Oh Lord. That's so good.
Anyway, what's your TV?
Yeah. They're ready to segue. He was ready.
I think we should just wrap it because we just gotta wrap it.
Are we done? Is it over? We start recording?
All right. Well, this has been
I'm sorry.
something. I don't know.
It's what it is. It's my fault.
I feel like I started it, and then you brought the train on, brought it right back on around. So this has been fun. I had a good time. I enjoyed myself. I'll see you later. This has been It's Fine, sweetie. You know what? It might have been a little non sequitous, but you know what that is? It's fine, sweetie.
I like that time back.
Bada boom.
Wow.
All right. Bye, y'all.